What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to do my language learning tier list. Now, I actually had a request for this in one of my previous comments. I was asked, Evildea, if you could put the list of languages that you want to learn into a tier list, that would be fucking awesome, and also explain why. And I figured, you know what? Today seems like one of those down days, one of those more relaxing, chill days where I'm not shitting on someone, so fuck it, why not? I'm going to talk about the languages I wish I could learn, and I may learn, because obviously there is still possibility within my life. It has not yet been shortened to absolutely null, where I may be able to learn a couple of more languages along the way, but I do want to talk about every single language that I think I've considered. Now, there may be more on this list, but this is all I can think of right now. And basically how this is going to work is anything that's in the S tier, it's highly likely that I will learn it, and probably pretty soon, as in like soon as in sequence of languages, not soon as in time frame, because obviously there's a lot of things going here. And also, additionally, a language, I may end up learning a language in the future that's not even on this list, and in fact, this has happened. So let's look at the languages I've learned, okay? I learned Esperanto. I went out my way to learn that one. Obviously, I wanted to. I've learned Mandarin Chinese, family reasons, and I learned Spanish. Well, I'm learning Spanish, let's be realistic. I have a basic understanding of the language. Now, I never in my life intended to go out and learn Spanish, but I did that because of a YouTube challenge. Okay, that's literally why I decided to start learning Spanish. It's not because I love the culture or any crazy shit like that. It's just because, well, that seemed like a good YouTube challenge and we had the fucking resources, so let's do it. So who knows what type of crazy-ass plans are going to happen over the next few years on this channel. Anyway, here is the list of languages, as you can see, and we're going to start with, you know what, we're just going to pick random ones from the list and we'll put them however they end up, okay, being. So, first up, Japanese. I've spoken about Japanese quite a bit. It's definitely an S tier language. The reason being is there's a couple of reasons, okay? So one, I studied it when I was in my youth in high school. I don't remember anything about the language. I know how to count to 10. Ichi, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, kyu, ju. As in Jewish people. No. So that's pretty much all I remember. I remember how to say konnichiwa, obviously. Watashi wa something desu or something. I can't remember. So I've forgotten everything about it. But the reason I want to learn it is not just because of that. It's because they have the best fucking drama. The Japanese community overall has crazy-ass drama. There's a lot of toxicity, and it just makes for a really, really interesting reaction sphere. And I've reacted to it so much that I think the Japanese at this point deserve me to start learning their language. I can't just keep milking them for content. So yeah, it's really high up there. Okay. Now, next up, we got Portuguese, okay? This one is, this is a hard one. Like, I want to shove it somewhere in here. Now, it's not an S tier because I'm currently in the middle of doing Spanish, okay? Did I spell that wrong? That looks wrong to me. I don't know. I probably spelled it wrong. Who cares anyway? But it's like, it's in one of these categories. I'm going to put it in the A category. Now, again, there is so many frauds within that community of, like, you know, speakers around the world and stuff. This sounds terrible. It sounds like I'm just trash talking, like, entire communities. But it makes for great content. Like, I could, like, investigate people endlessly if I learn this language right here. And once I've got Spanish down pat, it shouldn't be too hard for me to jump across and probably do that. And I actually know some YouTubers who would be on board for helping me, like, learn that language type of thing, just because, well, obviously, once I've got Spanish, it shouldn't be too hard to get there, and it could make for an interesting series. Okay, let's look at the next ones. Okay, let's pick a random one. Okay, Korean North. I specify Korean North, okay. This one's an unlikely one. I'm gonna put this... Okay, I'm gonna put it for C, but it may get dropped down to a D. Now, I've got North here because I always thought it would be the funniest shit ever if I literally learnt a language by just watching North Korean propaganda over time. Like, it would probably be one of those challenges where it's like, can you learn a language from incomprehensible content and just go? And then 15 years later, you've got me speaking North Korean propaganda style fucking... It would just be hilarious. And then, of course, when I'm an old man, I'm like 60, I'll go to South Korea and I'll just start ordering food and shocking the locals on the street in like North Korean. And then Yeah. Like, I've looked into it. Obviously, there's not that big of a difference between North Korean and South Korean. It's basically the difference between British English and American English, but it would be enough to turn heads, I think, and that would just be fucking funny. Although, it would also be chaos. Okay, next one, Cherokee. Cherokee just has, like, a sick fucking syllabary, and I've studied the history of it. If you have not seen it before, go look it up, man. It looks like someone took the Latin alphabet, had no idea what it was, which is actually what happened in a sense, and then just kind of like spawned some new letters off of it. It's like someone played evolution with the Latin alphabet and just kind of jammed shit together. It's really cool. For the language itself, I actually don't know too much about the language, but just the syllabary enough to capture my interest. Like, that's just enough. And I'm going to put it... this is another hard one. I'll put it in C for now, but it may get dropped down to D category as well. Auslan! Okay, so Auslan's actually a lot more likely. Reason being is because I know Auslan users here in Australia. I've actually done short courses for Auslan. I've forgotten most of it. But I just think it's kind of cool. Like, most people don't think about this when they think about a sign language, but I've witnessed people who, know sign languages stand on opposite, like, platforms of a train station, okay? Multiple platforms away. There's no way you could hear the other person. And they're just having a conversation. Okay, and I just think, how fucking sick would it be if I'm, like, in a nightclub, which I'm never going to go to, but, like, let a man dream, okay? Or I'm at a train station, and I just, like, whip out some Auslan, and I'm just talking with my mates, and a couple of them actually know it or learning it now, so there is some possibility there for me to learn it. Latin, okay, Latin was actually a lot higher up. It was around the A range. I'm going to say it's dropped down to the B or C range, just due to the fact that there's not too many use cases for me and this language, okay? So I'm going to put it down here with the C. This is hard because now I put Latin on the same level as Cherokee and North Korean. Actually, you know what? I'm going to push these down. We're going to push them down. Let's be realistic, okay? Latin's a bit more of a likely one at this stage. And because I've got the Esperanto, then I'll have the Spanish. Like, there's a possibility in there. There's some big YouTubers who do Latin, so maybe there's some collab opportunities in the future. But then again, I don't know. I've actually studied it a little bit before, forgotten most of it, but I'm assuming that'd be quite easy for me to just pick it up and, continue off. Okay. Volapük. Many years ago, Volapük was actually quite high up on my list. For those who don't know what Volapük is, it is a constructed language that came before Esperanto, and the speakers of this language, there were quite a few, okay, at one point. This language had, I can't remember how many, like tens of thousands of speakers at one point. They actually jumped ship to Esperanto, and they had an impact on early Esperanto history. But again, I'm going to put this one down here with Latin, and it may even be dropping lower. Okay, so I'm going to put it here. And it's an unlikely one. But when I was in my conlang days and like I was just doing all Esperanto stuff, it was like up here. So it's down here. It's kind of lost importance. Cornish! Cornish is just fucking sick. Now, why is Cornish sick, okay? Well, it is a language that essentially died in the UK, but it has been revived, and it sounds fucking cool, and it's got a few speakers now. It was literally revived from the last speaker and then a small community, and it's just kind of cool. I remember watching this one video about a miner who was speaking it, like not a miner as in a young child, but a literal miner over in the UK, and he was speaking some Cornish, and it sounded cool. Now, there was a point where it was much higher, but again, it's going to be dropping down to there. German is a language that I have studied. I have a friend who's actually speaks German quite well now. I've considered it many times, picked it up and dropped it off, and my mum speaks German, although she hasn't spoken German for like probably 30 years at this point. So every time I've asked her as of recent, can you say some stuff in German? She's really struggled. So maybe for family reasons. So I'm going to put it up here in the B range, but actually less so for family reasons, but more so because my mate speaks it. And because he speaks it, there's a higher chance of me learning German at some point. Now, fuck you, French. Fuck you. I wish to put French down here, okay? Because I don't like French. But the vast majority of language learners out there like French, and because I am a language learning YouTuber, it just makes sense to put French up here. So I'm going to say French is actually in the B category. It's kind of like Spanish. I have no real interest in learning the language itself. But because it is learned by all the language learners out there, it just gains prestige via that, okay? You should be down here. You don't even deserve to be on this tier list, you fucking French. But because other people like you, I'm going to put you up here. But you deserve to be here, okay? Just making sure everyone knows about that, okay? Now we've got some little odd ones down here. Okay, so Russian. Not to get political, but I'm kind of curious about Russian just to see what their propaganda is saying in country about the rest of the world. I am, and also I feel like I should learn a Slavic language at some point. I know there's a bunch of people in the comment section like Evildea Polish or Ukrainian, but I don't know. I feel like Russian should be my go-to one. I don't know why, but I'm kind of fascinated just because it's so disconnected now in the modern world from the rest of the world. And then again, this may change in the future. Where would I put it? Actually, I wouldn't put it up there. Come on. It's higher than Latin and Volapük. Okay, I'm going to put it here, but I would say realistically then French should be here, German should be here, and Auslan... I'm going to put Auslan for there for now, but it may get pushed up as well. Okay. Now, next up, we've got a couple of ones in here. Okay. So we've got this one right here. So this is an Indigenous Australian Aboriginal language from the Northern Territory. I've actually got some books on it, but there is almost no content available in this language. And I thought, if I was to do a crazy ALG challenge to learn a language which has absolutely no influence from Western languages, this would make for a good one. But let's be realistic. It's probably going to be around this range. Around here somewhere, okay. Maybe up here, but it's probably down here. But that could be a crazy one. But I would have to invest so much money. I would have to pay a native of it, and there's 2,500 of them, just to generate content just for me to learn that language, which would be just absolutely batshit insane. It would probably actually be easier to do Cherokee, realistically. Okay, next up on the list, Arabic. I'm actually really fascinated in Arabic. I have a real interest in it. I'm going to put it up here. And I feel like it makes sense in a lot of ways if you look at me as a YouTuber language learner, because I've got a East Asian language, Chinese. I'll probably have Japanese, okay, in the future. Still a while away. Let's be realistic about these things. And then I've got Esperanto, I've got Spanish, so, European languages. And then it just makes sense. Let's get the Middle East in there, you know what I mean? And Arabic, of course. Now, which Arabic? Now, I know that's a political question in itself, but that's a hard one. That is definitely a hard one. I think I'd probably go with Egyptian Arabic just because they have the most, media available. But that was true in the past. I don't know so much so now with, Egypt having all its issues with the economy and stuff. Maybe I'd probably have to go with Saudi Arabic or something. But I don't know what their media is like. I'd have to do some research, realistically. Okay, next up on the list. Let's go. Hebrew. I've always been fascinated in Hebrew. Now, the reason I've been fascinated in Hebrew is because essentially it is a language that died as part of, spoken everyday conversation. Yes, it continued on as a religious language, but it was brought back to life. And essentially, we know how it was brought back to life to be a living, breathing language of a community spoken today. And I feel like if you're learning Arabic, you got to learn Hebrew. And if you're learning Hebrew, you got to learn Arabic. I don't know why. They just feel like brother and sister languages, but the type of brother and sister, they just like to give each other a bit of a slapping around. I just kind of want to learn both of them. I know, a lot of work. Okay, let's look. Okay, Thai. I would say a few years ago, Thai would not even exist on this list. And in fact, before this year, it wouldn't even exist on this. But because of the whole fucking ALG shit, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm just heading towards wanting to become an ALG expert, and I'm not even a proponent of the methodology. It's just, it fascinates me how dogmatic it can be compared to other language learning methods. And if I can just become the OG of the ALG method, maybe I can pull back some dogmatism and actually show the good parts of the methodology, because there is some good aspects of it. But at the same time, I feel like if I'm really to go down that route and I'm to take on the ALG, I gotta do it in the original language, the OG language, which was Thai. So I'm gonna put Thai up around here. Possibly here, but here, okay? So we're going to put it there. And then my own conlang. I've spoken about this many times in the past. I've always wanted to create my own conlang that would represent my ideals as a person. And the way I would do that would be through the structures and the use of the language and the suffixes and all that stuff. But I don't feel like I am at a stage in my language learning journey where I've experienced enough diverse languages and become good enough at them to be able to create my own conlang. Of course I could do it right now. Like, I could just create it based on, fucking my experiences with Esperanto, Spanish, Chinese, and a little bit and pieces of these other languages. And then I could do what every other conlanger does out there. And then they just go to Wikipedia and they just search for the most rarest of shit and just shove it all into one language. But no, I don't want to do that. I want to experience the thinking of very different languages before I go down that route. But I do want to create one day. And call it, I don't know, Evildea or whatever it is. I'd be a real prick about this. I would create it, and then I'd probably secretly work behind the scenes for years, making a YouTube channel where I was just uploading content in it, but I would not translate anything. Nothing. Now, this wouldn't be because it's like some crazy like ALG thing where like I upload thousands of videos and you guys just have to learn by watching the content, because it would literally be incomprehensible. I would actually like to make it almost a challenge in the way that for those people who want to go through the experience of cracking like a language, figuring out how it works and working together as a community, almost like as a social experiment, trying to figure out how this language works and then just by watching content and working together, almost like a linguistic experiment. I think that would be fun. It would be both an art experiment and then also like an experiment for those who want to play, the game of cracking a language and trying to figure out what's happening behind the scenes. So obviously I would have to make it very fascinating in how it works to make it worthy of people's time. Now, this is something that I definitely plan to do one day, but it is not on the cards anytime soon, so I'm going to put it down here. Now, looking at this list, you can actually see these here, the S and A languages are most likely going to happen at some point. When? I don't know. But not all of them, I don't think. And there may be a language that randomly crops up and enters into this list one day. But I have a feeling that Japanese, Portuguese, French, Arabic are definitely on that list. When? I don't know. German less so. Hebrew less so. And the only reason Hebrew less so is because there's only one country that actually speaks it. And Arabic would just open up the whole Middle East, North Africa, and lots of different places. And plus, then I can start shit posting on Arabic speakers. I'm sure they would love that. That will go down fucking great. But yeah, that's my language tier list, I guess. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Who knows where this is going to be? I'll do an updated one in 10 years. Mark the time frame. We'll see how we go in 10 years, and I'll see you all in the next video. And don't forget to sub to the channel and drop your tier list down below. It doesn't have to represent, obviously, what you are going to do, but yeah, let me know. I'm kind of curious to see where everyone's at. Maybe if enough people put a language up in their S and A tier, hey, I might change my tiers around because, well, it seems like a bunch of you are interested in a certain language, so I should probably get into it so I can make better content for you all. Because, this is actually a funny thing about me, is I am both a language learner, but also a YouTuber. So a lot of the languages and stuff that I choose and I'm interested in is because of the YouTube community. I'm probably quite different in that respect. Like, a lot of people learn languages due to cultural reasons and stuff, but I'm out here learning languages due to challenges, drama, fucking just the most random shit because it makes for great YouTube content. Obviously, I get a language out of it, but at the same time, great YouTube content. Anyway, I've spoken too much. See you all next video. And fuck you, French. Yeah, that's right. You should be down here. How the fuck did you worm your ass up into the A category?